As I sit down to review Species, I wonder if I should review the movie or the reason that we all watched it. Natasha Henstridge was born in 1974 in Canada and started her career as a model at the ripe old age of 15. And no, I'm just kidding. This is Creature Movie Reviews, so we better talk about the movie. But you can't deny the reason why Species is so fondly remembered is because teenagers like me saw it, and for some unknown reason, we were instantly hooked. To start things off, we have a young girl waking up, being treated like a lab rat. Watching over all this is Xavier Fitch, the head of a very unique experiment. One that seems to have been a failure, because they have to pump cyanide into her cell, trying to kill her. But it's gonna take more than that, because she bursts out and escapes the lab. Teams of soldiers chasing after her. She ends up making it to a train, kills this homeless man, and in the morning makes it to a small town. She wanders around for a while, seeing how the world outside her test tube life works, until she finally boards another train. This time a passenger train headed towards LA. She ends up taking a little nap, and this is where we see she has nightmares. Crazy ones. H.R. Giger did the effects for this movie, and it shows. When she wakes up, we can see that something's off about this girl. There's something under her skin. Tentacles come out of her, and she's cocooned up in the train car. But I doubt a little pretty butterfly is gonna come out of this. Meanwhile, we meet a team that's gathered to try to hunt her down, all with their own strengths. Dan here is an empath. He has some kind of psychic powers. Dr. Stephen Arden,
Stephen Arden,
aka Doc Ock, Dr. Laura Baker, a biologist, and finally Preston Lennox, the muscle.
And if I'm here, I think the shit has definitely hit the fan.
They meet with Fitch, who finally explains what's going on here.
Good evening.
In 1974, a group of SETI researchers used a radio dish to send out signals into space. These signals included our DNA makeup, the solar system, stuff like that. In 1993, we got a signal back. That's pretty amazing and would prove that there is intelligent life out there. They got two messages. The first one was a way to make clean-burning fuel. The second was a new DNA sequence with instructions on how to split it into ours. Because humans just can't help playing God, they inject it into some eggs and allowed one to grow. Except it didn't grow like a normal human being. It grew fast. By 1 month, it looked like the girl in the beginning. They named her Syl, and through their research, saw that she had nightmares, visions of her true self coming out. The scientists saw this and knew that they couldn't let their experiment continue, so they tried to kill her, and the rest is history. These four have been brought in to hunt Syl down and kill her.
I think this is strictly a search and destroy operation.
Back on the train, the cocoon sucks in this poor lady, and what comes out is a fully mature Syl. Given that this is a horror movie, you can kind of tell how this is going to end, but for now, it would seem like Syl is just confused. She could kill everyone in this train station, but she's not inherently evil, and she's still figuring this all out. The team finds the dead lady on the train and Syl's cocoon, so now they know she's somewhere in LA. Good luck finding her in a city of 3.8 million, but they do have some hints. She took the train lady's credit cards, so all they have to do is wait for a hit and they'll know where she is.
Los Angeles is where the battle's going to be fought. Count one.
Sil spends the rest of the day wandering around, looking at people, and finally she checks into a motel, which only costs $62 a night. What a deal. After watching some TV, Sil asks the owner where she can find a man.
Where's a good place to find a man?
A bit blunt, but honey, I don't think you're gonna have any problem finding a man looking like that. I know you're a killer alien, but I volunteer. The owner directs her to a club that's down the street, but before leaving, he asks Sil for her credit card for room accidentals. And yep, you guessed it, the card is flagged, and the team quickly heads in her direction. She goes to the club, gets right in, and rips out the spinal cord of a lady just because she was talking to a man Sil was trying to get with. This chick's fierce. The team make it to the motel, learn about the club, and rush over, only to arrive too little too late, because Sil's already left with another guy she just met, ready to get it on. They go back to his house, he gets a shower, and apparently Sil likes what she sees. But then, all of a sudden, a shift. She can sense that this man is a diabetic, thus could pass that down to her children, something Sil doesn't want. So, she kills him. Well, that wasn't very nice. Once again, the team shows up late. Sil always seems to be just one step ahead of them. The next day, she's out driving around, the car from the guy she killed last night, and it runs out of gas. I've never seen a fuel gauge say R instead of E before. And why is it E anyway? I always thought E stood for enough, and F meant finally time to get more gas. Well, seeing how her car just died, Sil has to get out and hoof it. Not really knowing how traffic laws work, she gets hit by a car. A good Samaritan's there and he calls an ambulance. At the hospital, the doctor sees his patient heal right before his eyes, and he can't believe it. The guy who helped her out earlier is still at the hospital, and Sil decides to pay him back by having his baby. But he's a bit apprehensive. I mean, he just met this girl. She's butt naked in your hot tub, saying she wants to have your children. I don't care how hot you are, that's a big red flag.
It's not too soon for us to be together.
The team arrives at the door, and Sil can sense it. When she realizes she isn't going to get what she wants, she kills the guy. Now, I'm not sure what I can show and say on YouTube without getting into trouble, but there's really no other way to say it. A tentacle comes out of her nipples and chokes the guy. Honestly, probably my top 3 ways to die, I'm not gonna lie. After that, Preston and Laura start to bond, wondering if Sil is actually the cure, and we, the humans, are the disease. An interesting take. Sil ends up kidnapping this poor soul, and she's got a plan for her, which we'll get to. But first, I gotta mention the scene that made me squirm the most. This poor lady didn't do anything wrong, she's innocent, but Sil needs her, or more accurately, needs her body. The alien cuts off her own thumb, which is nasty in its own right and hard to watch, but it grows back, no big deal. Unfortunately for this lady, her thumb doesn't grow back. That night at the club, Sil gets our hero's attention and leads them on a car chase. It was the 90s, every movie had to have a car chase. She speeds around corners, flying down turns. She's a pretty good driver, wouldn't you say, for someone who just found out what a car was yesterday. Eventually, she flies over the edge of a cliff, jumping out just as the car hits a couple electrical boxes and explodes with the woman inside it. Now you can see what that thumb part was all about. Sil planted her cut-off thumb so they would test it, figure out that yes, genetically it's her, then look at the burned up body, see that it doesn't have a thumb, and voila, one dead alien. Sil's free to find a mate without the worry of being hunted. She dyes her hair and gives herself a haircut to be less conspicuous. Her plan works for a while too. The team celebrate at the bar. Laura goes to freshen up in the ladies' room, not knowing that she's talking to the very alien creature she was hired to kill. Laura goes back to her room, with Preston following after her to get some poo-tang. Sil catches a ride in the elevator with him, and you know what? I get it. The team really never got a good look at her, and she did dye her hair, but come on, it's pretty obvious this is our alien. It just proves that men don't look at women's faces. Sil sneaks into the room next to Laura to listen in on them doing it, in hopes that she can get sloppy seconds with Preston. But Adrian comes back to his room. He doesn't recognize Sil either. She plays it cool, saying that she saw him down at the bar flirting with other women, so she snuck into his room so she could have the final go at him. Her little lie works, because in a matter of seconds, they're going at it. Dan gets a sixth sense that something isn't right here, and he goes to get some backup. But they're too late. The deed is done, and Sil is impregnated.
Oh, I enjoyed that immensely.
Within seconds, she can feel the baby moving inside her.
I felt it.
Arden figures out what he's done, and he's a goner. The others knock on the door as Sil busts out of the room, and they know they've got to kill her before she gives birth. They arm up and follow her down into the tunnels beneath the hotel. Of course, they split up, which is always a good idea, and it's Fitch who's killed first, Sil hiding in the water. It's a game of cat and mouse for a while, until it's time to give birth. The team finds a new cave that opened up during the last earthquake, with an oil pit smack dab in the center of it. You better believe that's going to be important. Preston goes on ahead, trying to flush her out, but it's Dan who finds her. Well, wait a minute, that's not true. It's Dan who finds him first. That's right, Sil had a baby boy, and he's no different from Mom, with a tentacle-like tongue. Laura ends up falling into the oil just to make things more suspenseful. The kid, fully alien at this point, comes back, attacking Dan, who lights him on fire as he falls into the oil. This just pisses off Mom, who uses her nipples to try and take out Preston. A sentence I never thought I would say. He cuts one of them off and shoots her into the burning oil. They pull Dan up, but she's got some fight left in her yet. Preston loads up some super shotgun and blasts Sil right in the face. Of course, it can't just end there, because a rat picks up one of the tentacle nipples and eats it, apparently making it an alien now too. Species will forever go down as the creature feature that had a lot of boobs in it. And you know what? I'm okay with that. It got millions of teenage boys to watch. But here's the thing, it's not a bad movie. I like how instead of an alien coming to Earth and attacking, like most other movies, here the aliens sent the code and let us destroy ourselves. There's a cool line at the end of the movie that says she was half human and half alien. I wonder which half was the predator. It's not all good, however. The CGI definitely shows its age, and the ending was kinda weak. I guess originally they wanted to have a bigger finale, at a drive-in movie theater where they had Alien playing in the background. The military would show up to fight Sil, and she's eventually done in by Laura, who blows her head off. And then the baby crawls out of her, which could open it up to a sequel. That would have been a way better way to end it, instead of this rat eating the tentacle nipple thing. Even so, Species was popular enough for them to make more movies, which we'll get to eventually, I'm sure, but just give me some time. It was also so popular that it spawned its own cryptid. The Puerto Rican chupacabra bears a striking resemblance to Sil, and the first report of the creature was after this movie came out. Coincidence? I think not. Species is worth a watch, even if you're somehow not attracted to Natasha Henstridge. I give it 3 sliced off thumbs out of 4.